Okay, so let's look at some trigonometric problems. I'll cover some topics, revise some, and cover some new. Okay, so well, I guess you know this. Well, I want to focus on this. Angles can be measured with two ways: degrees and radians. So if you remember that we have like 360 degrees, this is one revolution, and this is a unit circle. And you can see how we can construct our angles using degrees. How to use radians. We say that 180 degrees is is pi. So this is pi, and if you divide it, it's pi over 2, and this is pi over 4, and so on. Well, you remember that you just take that pi is 180 and you calculate the angle. How to convert? You just say like 180 is pi. So if you divide left and right part by 180, you get this. So one degree is approximately equal to pi over 180. And if you want to say what is 1 radian, you just have to divide 180 by pi. Okay, if you want to convert 60 into radians, you just say, okay, I remember that. Well, it's pretty easy because 60 is just 1/3 of 180, so just pi over 3. But if you want to, okay, we remember that 1 degree is pi over 8, you can just say 60 times pi over 8. You cancel these numbers, you get pi over 3. That's it. This here, you just multiply minus 45 by this one angle, 1 degree, you get minus pi over 4, because these two numbers cancel out. If you want to convert this into degrees, you just need to say that pi, well, you just say pi is 180, and okay, for example, 3 pi over 2, just say 3 pi over 2, it's gonna be 3 times 180 over 2, so this is gonna be 3 times 90, which is 270 degrees. Okay, and the same thing here. You just get rid of this pi, and you change this pi into like 180, divide, and you get this degrees. How we construct the circle? Well, it's pretty easy. Well, you don't have to memorize everything here, but just you need to understand how it works. For example, how to construct 240 degrees. Okay, I just say we have 240 degrees, right? Okay, what is it? We understand that 1 degree is pi over 180. Okay, you just say it's gonna be 40 times pi over 180, right? Yes, radians. And you simplify it somehow. If you divide it by 10, you get to 24 pi over 18. It's gonna be, if you divide it by 3, I guess. Yeah, 3. You get 8 over 6. Yeah. And here you have pi. But you can also divide by 2. You get 4 pi over 3. Yes, that's how you get, how you convert degrees to radians. It's 4 pi over 3. Let's check. You see it's 4 pi over 3 here. So that's how you calculate them. The unit circle is a circle that is centered at the origin and always has a radius of 1. Well, okay. The unit circle will be helpful us later. Well, okay, let's... they want us to convert the following degree measures into radians. Well, all we need to do is just remember that 1 degree is... what? Pi over 180. And you convert. That's it. Okay, 45 for example. You just say 45 degrees. It's gonna be 45 degrees times this fraction. You simplify it, you get 4. If you simplify, you get pi over 4. That's it. Well, everything else is just the same. Convert following radian measures into degrees. Okay, let's say what is 7 pi over 4. Okay, what is 7 pi over 4? Let's calculate. 7 pi over 4. It's gonna be, we say that we just need to multiply by 7 pi. Okay, 7 pi over 4. You multiply it by flipped fraction. Or you can just say that just turn this pi into 180. So you get rid of pi and you write 180 instead of pi. You get 7 times 180 over 4. And you cancel. So if you divide 180 by 4, you get 45. Okay, so it's gonna be 7 times 45. It's gonna be 315 degrees. 315 degrees. Yeah. That's how you convert radian into degrees. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's check. Like 22. I got 22. I got 315. Yes, and I was right. The previous one is 45, which is pi over 4. Yeah, I'm right. Okay, trigonometric functions. Let's revise. Yeah. If you look at this circle, remember that sine is opposite of hypotenuse, cosine adjacent of hypotenuse, tangent opposite of adjacent. You can also have cosecant, secant, cotangent. So sine is opposite hypotenuse, cosine adjacent hypotenuse, tangent opposite adjacent. What they want us to know? Okay. Before, so find the values of the trigonometric ratios. Okay. So I'm gonna write it down here. Okay. So oh no, it's not gonna be this way. It's gonna be this way. Like so. Okay, it's 5 and it's 15. 12. 5, 12. If you use Pythagorean theorem, you get how to find this x or r. Let's say this is r. It's gonna be what is r? Well, let's just print it here. It's gonna be square root of 12 squared plus 5 squared, which is gonna give us square root of 144 plus 25, which is square root of 169, which is 13. So we know that this value here is 13. And now they want us to find the values of the 6 trig functions for this angle theta. So let's say, so this is our triangle. And let's print it here. No. Oh, okay, I have this sine of this angle, then cosine, and this theta, then sine, cosine, and tangent, cotangent, secant, and this one, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, okay. So they say that so sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay. We're looking at this angle. The opposite one is 12. Hypotenuse is 13. So it's 12 over 13. What is cosine? Adjacent over hypotenuse. What is adjacent for this one? It's 5 over hypotenuse, so 5 over 13. What is tangent? Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Okay. So this is opposite, 12, and this is adjacent, 5. So 12 over 5. 12 over 5. And now they say that if they have 3 reciprocal functions, so cosecant is reciprocal of sine. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite. Okay, this one here is just reciprocal for sine, so 13 over 12. 13 over 12. So it's gonna give us hypotenuse over opposite. Next, second, reciprocal for cosine. For cosine is you just flip this fraction here, 5 over 13. It's gonna be 13 over 5. So it's gonna be hypotenuse over adjacent. And cotangent, you just flip tangent. It's gonna be 5 over 12. That's okay.
So if we check, then sine 12 over 13, cosine 5 over 13, tangent is 12 over 5. I'm right, yes. Next, cosecant is 13 over 12. 13 over 12, okay. 13 over 5 is second. And cotangent is 5 over 12. Yes, we're right. Here's the same thing. You just calculate what this value will be. It's going to be 10. And you just do the same thing here. We remember that sine is opposite of a hypotenuse, cosine adjacent of a hypotenuse, tangent is opposite of adjacent. And these are just their reciprocals. So if you have 5 over 5, 4 over 5, you get 5 over 4, and so on. And the same thing here. I think it's pretty understandable. Okay, this is 45. In order to pair along the unit circle can also be known as cosine. Okay, this is so if you want to find the coordinates of this pi over 4 here in this circle, so how you can find square root of 2 over 2? You just need to say that it's going to be cosine of this angle and side of this angle. So to find the trig function values, you can look at the unit circle and easily see. Well, okay, sine of 45 is square root of 2 over 2. And cosine is the same. With that information, we can easily find the values of the reciprocal functions. Well, yeah, you just flip sine and flip cosine. It's the same thing. We can also find tangent and cotangent using the quotient identities. So you have to remember that tangent, by definition, is sine over cosine. It's not only opposite of adjacent, but you can also define them as a fraction of sine of trigonometric functions. So tangent is sine over cosine. We know that sine and cosine are square root of 2 over 2. You divide them, you get 1. And for cotangent is the same because you just flip this 1. In order to find secant of pi over 4, you remember that it's going to be 1 over cosine. You remember cosine here, because pi over 4 is 45, you get square root of 2 over 2, you get square root of 2. Tangent of pi over 6 is going to be sine of pi over 6 over cosine. This is sine. You have to remember this trigonometric table. This one here. So if you check it, you get, for example, sine of, well, let me explain how they found this. Tangent of pi over 6. Tangent of pi over 6. So what did they do? They said it's going to be sine and over cosine. They used the same angle. Pi over 6, and here's the same thing. Pi over 6.
And if you look at this table, sine pi over 6 is 1 over 2. Okay. 1 over 2. What is cosine of 6? Square root of 3 over 2. Okay. Square root, no, not here. Yeah, here. And square root of 3 over 2. Then you flip it, you get 1 over 2 multiplied by 2 over square root of 3. Yeah. And now these two with the cancel out, you get 1 over, square root of 3, which is square root of 3 over 3. Yeah, that's how you find tangent of pi over 6, because you know that it's sine over cosine by default, by definition. And for example, cotangent is the same. Cotangent of any angle is equal to cosine of x over sine of x. Here's the same thing here. You get okay, if you look at, so it's gonna be cosine of sine over sine. You get this angle minus 1/2 minus square root of 3 over 2. You divide them. Yeah, because the first value is sine and the second value is the first value is cosine, the second value is sine. Yeah, you can just use this circle here. Well, of course, if you want to know how to calculate them, you can just memorize, look at this picture, or let's focus on, okay, for example, pi over 6 here. How to find it here? Let's construct a triangle. Okay, the opposite should be just half of it. Okay, just take it. Just do this way. I know that, okay. For example, here. Yes. This is exactly 30 degrees. Okay. So I know that this is 30 degrees. Because this is 1. Okay, let's say that this is 1. And this is, it should be 1/2. Because the leg that is opposite the 30 degrees, it's half of the hypotenuse. There's the rule. So using Pythagorean theorem, you can say that 1 minus the square of this number is going to be 1 over 4. Just take the square root of this. You get, so 1 minus 1/4 is going to be 3 over 4. It's going to be square root of 3 over square root of 4, which is 2. So this is going to be square root of 3 over 2. Here's what we found here. And now you can construct your own
table. For example, how to find square root of 2 and 1 over 2. Pretty easy. You just say that sine of 30 is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite is 1 over 2. Hypotenuse is 1. So you get 1 over 2. Cosine of 30, it's going to give us adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent is square root of 3 over 2 over hypotenuse. So you divide it by 1. You get the same thing, square root of 3 over 2. That's how you find these values. So the first value is cosine, the second value is sine. That's basically it. Oh, the same thing here. How do you use the special right triangles to find trig ratios? If the oh yeah, okay. What is sine over sine of 30? It's 1 over 2. What is cosine of 45? Cosine of 45 is adjacent over hypotenuse, so 1 over square root of 2. But we have it here because we got rid of irrational square root of 2 in the denominator. And tangent of 60, it's going to give us opposite over adjacent. So square root of 3 over 1. That's what we got here. And this is not only the easiest way, but also this way you can find trig values for angle measures that are less common. Okay, we can use a calculator. After you choose which function you need to type, okay. So these values are also fine, so you can always calculate them in a calculator. Find the missing side lengths given an angle measure. Suppose you're given an angle measure and the side lengths. Can you find the remaining side lengths? Yes. You can use the trig functions to formulate the equation to find missing side and right. Okay. We know that this is x, this is 5, and this is 30. We know that sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So x over 5 here. Next we solve for x. It's going to be 5 times sine. Okay, we know that sine is 1 over 2 in this trigonometric table or here as well. So you multiply 5 by 1 over 2, you get 2.5. Okay, here as well. So how to find x? Okay, let's not see the solution. Let's not look here. So we have 16x and 52. Okay, we know the tangent is adjacent, opposite of adjacent, so 16 over x. How to find x? You just divide 16 by tangent. Tangent of 52 is, so tangent of 52, you have to use a calculator here. 52 degrees, I guess. Yeah, and we know there's going to be 1.20, okay, it's going to be 1.28, for example. Yeah, approximately. And now we have to divide 16 by this value here. 16 by 1.28. And let's see, it's gonna give us the value we need. 12.5. approximately. You see? Okay, so let's move on. So these are inverse trigonometric functions, so it's going to be also known as arcsine, arccosine, and arctangent. Yeah, so if you use these buttons in conjunction with your ratio, you get the angle measure for it. Okay, we know the tangent of this theta is 8/6. To find the value of theta, you need to find tangent or like arctangent. Here's what you do. You just need to say that. So you can find tangent of some angle. Yeah. So for example, let's say that tangent of, we know the tangent of, I don't know, like 45, okay, pi over 4. We know the tangent of pi over 4, or 45 degrees, I don't know. It will, okay, it will give us tangent of pi over 4, we get it. And now we know that this is 1. So if you want to find tangent, reciprocal for tangent, you don't put angles here, you put the value of tangent, so it's 1. And now if you calculate it, you get pi over 4. You see? So this is going to be our tangent. So this is pi over 4, only because tangent of pi over 4 is 1. That's how they connect. And here you just, sometimes you don't have this value, so you need to type in the calculator. We are given information about the adjacent side of the hypotenuse. So we have adjacent side hypotenuse, so this is cosine. It's 1/2. So if you type it here, we remember that cosine of 60 is 1/2. So cosine, so arc cosine of 1/2 is 60. So this angle is 60. Pretty easy. Find the value of the 6 trigonometric functions. Here we don't need to find these angles. Okay, let's look at the first one. I have 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1. Oh, okay. This is 3 and this is 4. You connect them. This is 3, this is 4. If you calculate 16 plus 9, you get 5. And now you have data. So what can I find? I can find sine, for example. Sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, secant of cosecant. Okay, so let's focus on sine. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So this is the opposite side. Hypotenuse is 5, so it's going to be 4 over 5. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so it's 3 over 5. Tangent is opposite of adjacent, so 4 over 5. Cotangent is just flipped tangent, so it's 5 over 4. And next you just flip, so secant is just flipped 1 cosine, 1 over cosine. You get cosine is 3 over 5, so it's going to be 5 over 3. And cosecant is 1 over sine. It's going to give us 5 over 4. That's it. And we can also find, for example, this angle here. How we can do it, we just say that if we know that sine of theta is 4 over 5, here's what they told us. We know that we need to find sine of -1, so arcsine of this value. So we just say that this angle here is equal to sine -1 of this 4 over 5. And we need to calculate it here, so we just press sine of -1 of 4 over 5. Yes. Well, I guess this is the radian form. So it's 53 degrees. So I know that this is actually 0.92 and 7. Okay. And this is in radians, I guess, so we have to we know this is radians, so I know that how to convert. If you have radians, you need to convert them to angles and degrees. If you remember, yeah, 1 degree, so you have radian, so you have to multiply this radian by
180 over pi. Okay. So you need to multiply 180 over pi. Okay. And you will get degrees. You see? It will give us 53.11 degrees. So okay, 53 degrees approximately. So it's gonna give us either 0.27 radians or 50, how many degrees? 53 degrees. This sign here. Degrees. No. Degrees here. Yes. So so theta is approximately 53 degrees. So I found all values for sine, cosine, and so on, and I found this angle here. So this angle is approximately 53 degrees. So that's how I found. Okay. The same thing here. You can also calculate the same thing. Use the definition of the trig ratios to find the trig function indicated. Okay. For example, if we know that cosine is 4 over 5, well, if you remember, we get this formula here. It's equal to 1. So we can find sine here. So sine squared is equal to 1 minus cosine squared of theta, which is equal, so it means that sine of theta is equal to square root of 1 minus cosine squared of theta. So this is equal to 1 minus, so you find square of this, 16 over 25. So it's going to give us square root of 1 minus, so 25 minus 16, you get 9 over 25, which is 3 over 5. So this is my sine, and in order to find tangent, I need to divide sine over cosine. What is sine? 3 over 5. 3 over 5, you get divide. Cosine is 4 over 5. if you flip them together, you get, okay, 3 over 5 times 5 over 4. Yeah, and you get 3 over 4. That's how you find tangent. That's it.